I have just played for you Rachmaninoff's Prelude number 7 in C minor from the Opus 23 Preludes. There are 10 preludes in the Opus 23 cycle, and these were written between the years of 1901 and 1903. They're earlier works of Rachmaninoff's, and many of them are very virtuosic, including this one. Rachmaninoff was at master level as a composer, conductor, and pianist. He had a consummate understanding of the piano and knew how to write pianistically for it, which is why his music is such a joy to play. During the 20-year span of writing all 24 preludes, Rachmaninoff continually developed his own unique harmonic language. The preludes often sound orchestral, with distinct different parts from different sections and registers of the instrument, mimicking what you'd hear in an orchestra. In this prelude, we have a dense swirling cluster of non-stop 16th notes which go throughout the entire piece. And over that we have a sighing upper melody And way in the bass, we have long, sustained, bell-like tones. So he's encompassing the entire range of the keyboard. And finally, in this prelude, Rachmaninoff is displaying his love of the minor second and the use of chromaticism. And he is embellishing a hidden chordal outline many times in this piece, and I'm going to focus on that feature a lot in the lesson. So let's see how he puts this all together. This prelude is in 4/4 time. It's in C minor, as I said, and the tonality of C minor, and there is your triad. And you can actually take this triad and invert it. And Rachmaninoff is going to use that feature. But before we see how he does it, I want to play just the first note of the opening 8 measures, because this is your theme. This is what you will hear throughout the entire piece. Measure 1 starts with the C. Measure 2 drops a half step to the B natural. Measure 3 has the B flat and repeats it. Measure 5 starts on the B flat, goes down a half step to the A natural, and rests on the A flat. That takes you all the way through measure 8. The first beat of these 8 measures, I'm going to play this chordal outline that Rachmaninoff is using. Here's beat 1, measure 1. Measure 2. Measure 3. Now listen to how it changes here. That middle note dropped. Another half step. Then we repeat the entire progression of 4 measures, starting on B flat minor, bottom note drops. Now listen to this middle note drop. It's very beautiful, just that. There is one more note that he is going to add for every one of these beats, and it is an F sharp. This is an added tone. This is the half step F sharp to G. And so now, with these 16th notes of beat 1, this is what the material really sounds like. If I release it, that's that chord. This slow practice is so essential. I'm acquainting myself and showing you how to do the same. When you learn this piece, so much of this is following the patterns and listening to them, being able to maybe sing it. Now drop it. Going back to that inversion now. Those of you that don't know what an inversion is, this is a device that's used all the time in composition. And you take the 3 notes of your triad, C, E flat, G. Take that bottom note C, move it up an octave. Now you have your same 3 notes in a first inversion. Take that E flat bottom note up an octave. And that's your second inversion. And one more time, bring that up an octave, and you're back to the root, just up an octave. So they help us travel. Left hand did that, and on our third beats, Rachmaninoff is building a whole new set of hidden chords on the second inversion. Now, if I take that left-hand note that moves, which we've already identified, you're going to hear that in these right-hand chords. Instead of that, this is what Rachmaninoff writes. And this is tricky. Measure 3 and measure 4. I spent hours for months getting this into my brain and into my ears because this is counterintuitive. The next 4 measures. Love these. And if you put those together, beat 1. But those are just beats 1 and 3. So what's happening on the other beats 2 and 4? This is I found fascinating. If we take again our reposition, first inversion, that note G, Rachmaninoff is using on every second and fourth beat as a turn, an embellishment. He's going one note above the G with the A flat, the G, and down one note half step below with the F sharp. So this is what you hear on beat 2 and beat 4 for the whole first 8 measures. And that constitutes the entire swirling 16th note material. There's one last element within this, and that is that that top note, that's the highest note of the 16 notes in measure 1, has a quarter note on it, so it has to sustain and hold. And Rachmaninoff is doing that because that makes this melody, which is the sighing upper melody. Listen to this now by itself. This is the third beat quarter note of each measure. E flat, E flat, E flat. Now drop a half step to the D. Repeat the whole thing now on D flat, measure 5, measure 6, measure 7, drop a half step. And I'm going to put now the bass starting note C with that E flat and play the whole first 16 measures, because this is your anchor note. These are the things that you're going to be listening for that are containing all of the hundreds of 16th notes that we're going to add. We want to acquaint ourselves with this beautiful first beat, third beat, first beat, third beat, and listen to the story here. They're speaking to each other. Going on now here. Crying out. Unexpected, dark, and isn't that beautiful? Then we need to see how this low bell tone fits in. And he's taking the tonic C and putting it to bass C. And he's playing it on the third beat and holding it for a whole another 2 measures and then releasing. Then he does it again. Now you need to hold that note with the hand. And now I'm going to play it slowly as written to show how that works, playing all the notes as written. I'm not playing up to tempo just yet. But when you hear me play this, I'm going to be sustaining that with my 5th finger. See how I'm holding on to the 5? Still repeat. The first 16 measures. That's very slow practice. Now, when we play this a little bit more up to tempo, I'm going to talk just briefly, technically, about how the hand has to move back and forth in order to negotiate smoothly these not so easy patterns. So I'll just play it once fast. So I'm moving. If I take my left hand here, bunch up my right hand fingers in a ball, plant it in the palm, I'm going to be doing these kind of motions with the wrist, up, down, sliding on the keys. This is loose and pliable. Everything's loose and pliable. So I slide up, up. I have to hang on to that one. Into it. That sighing is so beautiful. This has got to sound very light and this is not a heavy piece. It starts piano. The temptation is to play this too strong, but he wants this all very fluttery. Now when we have the final cadence here, I wanted to talk a little bit about two options of fingerings. I've put a great deal of work into studying the fingerings for this piece, and there are a few options for our ending cadence. Let me back up right here with our, actually I'm going to start with the third system, measure 9. That's a gorgeous moment. This is the fingering that I like to do, taking many of the notes with the left hand. Let's do that again. You could also hold with the pedal and get off of that like this. For that short little bit, it's okay. But I really love being able to hold it down. If it says a whole note and I can hold it, I'm going to try. Take some practice to do that. And then we start exactly again, a repetition of the same 16 measures of material, but we have some added things. Going on now to our page 2, we're going to have the additional material. Instead of starting with the single bass note here that we did on page 1, on our page 2, we're going to double that as an octave. And we're going to have a whole new counter melody also in octaves. He's expanding now and making this twice as many notes as we had for our repetition, which I call section A1. And he starts like this. Measure 17. And then he has but you don't play it like that. And now we get the challenge here. I'll play slowly on this and watch my hands, how I do this. This I'm splitting. That middle, which was all taken with the right hand on the first page, is now split occasionally from the right hand to the left hand. In order to get all these octaves, all left hand. Now, split, split. Those are our first 4 measures, and then we have our sequence when everything goes down again now to the B flat minor tonality. Rachmaninoff changes here at measure 28. To the D flat. Here's our same cadence. But there's an important difference here. And I love to do this. I'll show you in 1 second what I'm looking at. Putting my page 1 and 2 back to back like this, I can compare the first big A section at measure 15, which kept my dominant in the bass. The second time, what we just played at measure 31, he cuts that in half and makes these, instead of 4 beats long, they're only 2 beats long. 1, 2, 3, 4, and ends on the tonic. So we have an authentic cadence the last time, and the first time we had what's called a half cadence. Now at this point I'm going to show you the supplies in the chart package of what I'm working from and what I made. This is all part of my new layout chart engraving, the new layout charts. And this is what your page 1 looks like. You can see your opening material right here, the 4 measures, and then the repetition down to B flat minor, and then all of these swirling here, falling, and your 2 measure cadence at the end here. There are 5 pages of this chart. Your page 2, and this is marked up for the lesson, but you get a lot of these markings on another format that I'll show you in just a minute. But we have exactly the same material. And I put with the alternate fingerings, this is the way to lift off with the pedal, lift off these and hold the pedal, and this is with sustaining with your fingers. So now, after I make those 5 pages on the 11 by 17 format, and I take this from public domain music and re-engrave every single note as a brand new engraving so that I'm not infringing on any copyright. This is a brand new edition with its own copyright. And I take those 5 pages and I put them on the satellite view, the vertical axis. And this is all your page 1 and 2 material. And it goes on to a second page and goes on to a final 3rd page. That's your entire piece. And I need to make this black and white satellite view first before I can make the color structural analysis, which is my very favorite part of a chart package. I learned so much about the piece when I make one of these. And now this, right here, we have just talked about the whole 16 measures of the opening A section, section A theme 1. All of those upper melodic notes that are sustained as the sighing upper melody. Are marked. Let's see how they look on this engraving here. E flat, E flat, E flat, drop to D natural. Those are 4 measures. And here it's a sequence. The material repeats exactly down a whole step. D flat, D flat, D flat, C. And then we have that B natural, jump up, G, ya, da, da, first time, D flat, C, C, B natural with the half cadence, 1 measure long with the G, 1 measure long. There's no tonic here, that's why it's a half cadence. Then we take our repetition with the octave overlays, which I played slowly. I'm going to play it for you a little more up to tempo as soon as I'm through with this page. The repetition of section A harmonic outline, exactly. 4 measures here are exactly the material of these 4. It's really exact duplication of material, but everything here is expanded. And then when we get to that wonderful moment just before section A for the second time is finished, we have a second ending. It's a departure where it goes up to the D flat instead of falling down to the thirds. That's crystal clear. Then you have that final cadence here with dominant, dominant, and resolving on the tonic. So we're really finished now when we get that authentic cadence at the end of that entire repetition of section A. Just going on to take a quick scan on the form of this piece is A, A1, B in the green box, all of this, then A again, another big pink box, and finally your coda. And that's the last page, which is pretty splendid. And it wraps up in the most extraordinary way. All right, so we'll come back to this, take another look at it. These supplies, and there's one other engraving PDF that comes for that last page, is this. We will, when we get to that point in the piece, we will bring this out. And all of these supplies are available as digital downloads from my website, sallychristianmusic.com. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our page 2 and play it up to tempo. And now I'm going to focus, since we have the basic harmonic outline in our minds and we understand how much repetition this is of the opening A material of 16 measures, I'm going to focus on the music of this now and how this makes you feel. What do the sounds bring out in you in these poignant half steps? And listen to my sound that I'm going to hear. This is all still piano. Okay, starting at measure 17. music. We'll move this over here. And another thing about this particular chart package, all of those sections begin at the top of a new page. It's just a splendid way of how to learn the music. Now I have, as loose leaf pages here, my page 3. This is all the development section, complete. And then when I start my page 4, it's the recapitulation back to the A section, right at the top. And when I start my 5th page, it is exactly at the top of the Coda. And this has been enormously helpful for me. I engraved it this way. I've spent a lot of time figuring out the layout of this, because this doesn't look like any other edition you'll find. Because I have the long phrases and the sections laid out intentionally this way. This is a complete, unique, new way of seeing the piece and learning the piece. So now we're starting at measure 33 on the dominant. Now what he's got here, this beautiful sweeping 16th note, 2-beat phrase, sweeps up to the F. And has a series of half notes. Sequential material on a new set of tones. I love this dark on that F minor. Now where's he going? He's building. He's going somewhere. Watch this. Tritone. Tritone. 5th. Diminished 5th. And to here. Does that sound like E flat major to you? If it does, you're right. He modulated there to the relative major, E flat major. So this whole inquiry beginning on measure 33 of the development section, I think of it as a journey. And I'm going through all these, going through a forest with all these hidden trails, and this one goes down here, and then this one sneaks through in here. All of these harmonies mean something. We haven't even looked at the harmonies yet. So we're going to do that now, because these are extraordinary. Non-stop 16th notes. Take a quick look at my page here. Nothing but 16th notes all the way through the entire piece. Never stops, but it doesn't get boring because of all of the new elements he puts in and weaves around. In order to play Rachmaninoff well, play any composer well, I believe it's crucially important to follow every single mark on the music. If it's a quarter note, you have to hold it for that value. Whole note, you have to hold it. The rests you must release. That's aside from the notes, of course, just to play right notes. So starting here, we have this descending, and he's got two different kinds of accents here. I highlighted these in colored pencil for the lesson, but he has the V on its side, which is a bigger accent, and a little dash above, because he really wants that F to come out. See, it's 2 notes here. It's got the 16th note that goes up for the 16ths. It's got the half note, which has to be held for the rest of the measure. This half note has to hold to here. This has to hold to here. And this quarter note has to hold. These dashes, quarter notes, they just a repetition in here. Very, very beautiful, the dialogue between the held notes of the 5th finger of the right hand, which comes completely from the opening 8 measures. I could play this all day. I did. You have to know that like your name. You get it in your fingers, you get it in your ears, and then every time it comes in the piece, oh, my friend, there you are. So here we are now. Let's play as written beginning of the development section. These gorgeous passages. There's the F. We're going to slowly. Linger on that. How does that make you feel? That E flat with the thumb going on. C. Hold, right hand, hold. That has to resolve, doesn't it? But look how he resolves it. Beautiful, these huge chords. That's what I mean, orchestral. It's so wide. And then going on. Here's the last bit of exploring. Now this last passage is another example of Rachmaninoff's playfulness. I believe he was exploring the potential of the inversion. How he has constructed this with hidden inversions in each hand, coming with the right hand. This is all, of course, this surprise modulation. These are the notes. They're coming down. What are they coming down? The E flat major inversions. And I pull with this. See, I scoop with the elbow because this is going to be preceded with this. This is hard. This is the hardest. It's going to take a lot of practice to get that. Now the left hand. Believe it or not, look what that did. If I start each of these with the third finger, there's this chromatic tone, and look how it, by holding, voila, there's your second inversion. Voila, your first inversion. That one you have to go with the thumb. There's root position. This is really fun. Now I aim, the fingerings here are critically important. 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, and you have to strike that 2 so it will sound. Now this one's different. 1, 2. The white key, land on the and rock up. 2, 1. And you're left with this beautiful, the blur and then the clarities. It's like the lens of the camera focuses and you say, ah, it's my triad, it's my inversion, and enjoy those. The tremendous imagination he had of having descending broken inversions of the chords of the right hand and the left hand. This is just extraordinary imagination. And I put these all in orange boxes. I do that on the charts and the satellite views. This is on your satellite view, all of these orange blocks, rectangles of, when something's particularly important and not to miss, that's the tool that I've developed, the orange boxes. I save them for the really important things. Now I just want to go back to play a little bit more up to tempo here and show you the sweep of this, because this is contrast. This is the real contrast in this section. Top of page 4, and we have our last A section. I call it A2, and this I have to say I have been giddy with excitement of how he has written this. I'm going to just play for you. Now we know that this is repetition of our A material, but he has two new elements, two additional elements. And the first one is the presence in each measure of these huge whole note bells. And this is what they sound like. Measure 53, up to G, E flat, up to B flat. And then he drops it down an octave and piano, the fifth. That's new. Then with the beats 1 and 3, 1, 3, this is what's in the music of the left hand. It's so wonderful playing on a piano like this. This beautiful Bösendorf, it's at 9'6", and the basses on this are so incredible. I'm very lucky to have an instrument like this to commune with and play Rachmaninoff on. And if you can have the experience of playing a really great 9-foot piano, a piece like this, there's something really transformative in your body when you hear these enormous bass notes resonating through every cell in your body. It's cathartic. It really is. This is like the mind, body, spirit. The ultimate experience. One of the formats is with great music like this. Okay, so what did I play with this? Let's do this again. I'm going to go a little bit faster. Focus now on the note I'm playing with that left-hand thumb when I reach up to that third beat, and tell me what it is when I'm done playing this. opening sustained notes, measures 1 through 4. And he is absolutely duplicating it, doubling it, just like I did. Because the right hand does, and it's going to double now on the next measure. Instead of this, it's going to go to the G, because these big bells are also duplicated. So this is what we have, the bells. That's what I mean orchestral. These are complete different sections of the orchestra. That's in there. Other notes in the left hand are arpeggios that sweep up to that E flat. Listen how he constructs this to get up there. Sorry. Drop his step. Isn't that beautiful? Augmented chord. That's an inversion. See how he's playing around with chords and inversions for the entire piece. Lots and lots and lots and lots of hands alone on this piece. A little faster. Play this top of page 4 with everything together, up to tempo. Now this ninth is so beautiful. Does with it, this is the left hand, measure 67. This is a little hard with fingering. I'll show you in the music here. This double thumb here, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, actually 4 thumbs in a row. You have to slide that left hand thumb in order to get that legato. So here's the first one, measure 67. Try to hang on to this G because it's a whole note. I can barely reach it, but at least make the attempt. But you can slide on that. See, that's pretty smooth. And then that brings us to the coda. And we're hanging with that. We're craving the resolution. And we get it right here. And now we begin what I think is the most ethereal an imaginative bit of writing that I've come across in a long time, because he's taking now our same opening material, instead of on beats 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, he's shifting it all one beat more, so it starts on the second beat. 1, and it's up an octave. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And it starts out. This is opening. It starts again. I'm going to show you the engraving that I just made for this last page. You know, I work on these charts and the lessons, and I learn so much in the last few weeks, especially the last few days. So I work on these as a full-time job. I'm really pretty much 8 hours a day working on understanding this piece so that I can explain it and help you to learn it. And when you understand what's in a piece, it makes it so much easier to play it well, because you know what it's doing, what it's built on, what it's supposed to sound like, because of all the careful study you've done with the chords and the patterns. So just yesterday, seriously, I made this engraving, and this is showing in a color graph here this addendum, the phrase structure analysis for the coda, because this is really a bit of extraordinary rhythmic phrasing, what he's doing, of groups, long groups of 4 beats, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then a 3 beat, 2, 3, 4, and a 2 beat, 1, 2, 1, 2, but this is really a 3 also. So I made this because of the overlap, and this is a lot like the Bach Inventions and Sinfonias. When one voice is not finished, this in green with the 3 beats here is playing from here to here. That's a 2, and this is another 3. And this one here actually serves double function, this A flat, and matches with the bass notes to form 3 2 beats. But it's shifted, it's sandwiched in between a 3-measure phrase and a 3-measure phrase. So now let's play this. I'm actually going to start with the left hand. Now listen to these. Then it starts again. First time, and then on the repetition, he's putting it down. The right hand is going to hinge on that. 16th rest. And this is, I think, so important that he chose for the last repetition of A material. And it's not exact. We don't have the full 4 measures that we have in all the other A1, A2 sections. We have the beginnings. The first 2 are complete. The third is not complete because it gets interrupted with these 2-beat agogic accents that come in. It's very complicated. And so why is he doing that? Why does he have the little 16th rest here? I believe it's because he wants a different quality here at this point. In order to get that, it's like a little quick breath that you take. It gives a different breathless quality to it. Breath. 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 And all together. I love this. Those are his beloved half steps. That is so signature Rachmaninoff right there. You hear that all the time in his compositions. And here it is. And then here they are. Everything's very pliable, like in a dream here, with all these overlapping layers. This is not too real. For me, this part in the piece is like a reminiscence. I remember how it was back then. And these little drifts and fragments of memories are coming in and out of my consciousness. And I'm in a dream world. None of this is too real. And he's written here pianissimo and leggero. He really wants this as quiet and feathery. I do these bye-bye fingers with my technique to get this super light and gossamer. That's how he builds that. It is this magnificent rhythmic straddle of going with these decreased measure lengths. And if you study the lengths, the beats of these phrases that he's written in, and that's why I did this, because this is his build-up to the finish of the piece, with all of these, with just one beat, one beat, one beat, prefaced by all this dream state of nothing really too real. And you'll want to spend a long time studying this. I actually thought about this for about 2 months, of how I could show this, how I could graph this to communicate what I thought was in the music here. And I really like this. I think this is very, very helpful. As we build to this final moment, I'm going to back up now and just play the left hand alone from the top. Like I said, can't do too much hands alone. Feel the rocking. See, this is straight. Dum, bum, bum, bum. It's keeping the beat. It's keeping the pulse of the 2 beat phrases. Back and forth. And over at the right hand is doing completely opposite material. This was a genius. chords. An ascending chromatic line, because the right hand is doing and if you back up a little bit, now starting on the second beat, rest. After that point, on the beat, on the beat, on the beat, on the beat, and finally, like that. So follow these beats now as I do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. To the parallel C major. That's so magnificent after all of this minor and dark and the tightest interval of a half step with all of the chromaticism woven throughout the entire piece. And to expand out of it like that, it's like bursting out into his own new kind of freedom. And I encourage you to really dwell in the interpretation and the ideas of what this music suggests to you here. Because this is spiritual, this is emotional and spiritual, and it's a message, and it's our commonality of the human experience, where this takes us based on our own life experiences and our own observations about life. But what was his? How was that all of a sudden came so hopeful and triumphant at the end, unexpected like that? I want to point out something that I also see a lot in Rachmaninoff, and that is the beat displacement. Agogic accents simply mean that they have a natural beat to them, like bum, 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 bum. And when we hear 1, 2, 3, 4, we think 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, that's easy to follow, right? But what if your pattern went 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1? Could you follow it as well? And that's what he's doing here at the end. When he's got all of these on the beats, this is this passage. And you want to actually, these are little slurs here. All of these, bump, 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 bump. And they have to be... Sorry. This is beautiful, beautiful, tense writing. These are on the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Now that is counterintuitive, because we have 4 beats that do this pattern, starting from the top note going down, with repetition, and then we have a new pattern starting and it's not on the agogic accents. These are on the 4th beat. 4, 1, 2, 3. Now the new pattern. 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then you end on that bass note on the 1. But it's really important to count that right there. And then this final chorus. And you can bring out this lower voice if you want, or the upper. And I have to roll real fast Rachmaninoff could reach this. I cannot, but I roll it really fast. You really can't even tell. It's fine. Stand on the hands. It's 2, we go 5, 1. So delicious, that C major. Of course, he's going to end with an inversion with the left hand. Beautiful. Inversions all the way through the piece. So I hope this has been helpful for you. And getting acquainted with the elements of this piece I consider this an advanced piece, and to play anything well takes a long time. So you want to pick your material carefully, whether you're just starting now as maybe a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old, or you're in your teens, or you're in college, or you're in your elder years. It's never too late to start a piece like this. If a piece like this really means something to you, try it. And just take it a little bit at a time. With this chart, you can just pull out your page 1 and just work on that. Pull out your page 2, your page 4, your coda. Just pull out that last page. In fact, when I was really honing in on this piece the last half a year, I started my practicing with page 5. That was the first thing I did, because I wanted to know that cold, because it's so hard. And there's so much in it. And then I played the whole piece through again. So when I come to that coda, I feel really comfortable with it. But I was patient with myself. And I knew if I just put the work in, a little bit of careful work every day, and exact work, I didn't get in any bad habits. I took my time. I got all the right notes, got all the right fingerings. And over time, it starts to permeate. But in this piece, hearing it in your ears and hearing the patterns, hearing those intervals, that is a huge part in your process of internalizing the piece and being able to play it and fully enjoy it and savor it. There's always a song in it. There's such nurturing and sustenance that comes with aligning yourself with something this great. So I hope you learn the piece. I hope you have hours and hours of joy and pleasure playing it. Thank you.